Hi everyone, today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be sharing why I have severely limited the amount of alcohol that I drink. So just to give you guys some background, I have never been a heavy drinker. So it's not like I really struggled with alcohol addiction or anything like that. I've never been someone who drinks every day or who, can't go a week without drinking. However, like most Americans, I would say I probably drink about every weekend, right? It's something that I think I do without even consciously thinking about it. Like if I go to dinner with my girlfriends or if I go on a date night with my husband, I was the type of person who would just order a cocktail or two, right? Like it was just part of my routine. It was part of my weekly schedule. And it was just something that over time I think I developed an aversion to, and I'm going to give you guys just the whole story of why I even decided to limit my alcohol intake. So this actually goes back to December of last year. So December of 2023, my husband and I went on a several week vacation. We went to Dubai and then we visited his family in India. And typically when we travel, we drink a little bit more than we usually would, right? We're not working. We might sip some champagne on the flight. We might have some champagne at the airport lounge. There's just a lot more alcohol around us, and so we're more likely to consume it. Now, when we went to Dubai, it was a little bit different because, as you guys know, it's a Muslim country, and so alcohol isn't really as accessible. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not accessible. You're still going to find it at restaurants and hotels and things like that, but it's not stuffed down your throat. And I've noticed that in America, for some reason, alcohol is just stuffed down our throat. It's like the minute you sit down at a restaurant, the waiter is like, anything to drink? Here's our cocktail list. Here's our wine list. We have happy hour. It's just such a big part of our culture. And I never realized that alcohol is a drug. At the end of the day, alcohol is a drug, and just because it's accessible, just because we see it everywhere, just because most people do it, doesn't mean that it's good, doesn't mean that it's any better or any healthier than any other drug out there. And actually, there are so many families who have been damaged by alcoholism, by alcohol addiction, by liver failure, by abusive parents who struggled with alcohol. So alcohol can ruin lives. It's killed people, DUIs are common, and it is just a very dangerous thing, even though we go about life and treat it like it's just like any other drink. So while we were in Dubai, I noticed that because alcohol wasn't really pushed onto me or really advertised in the way that it is in the US, I simply wasn't really drinking as much. And I really wasn't drinking at all. I had no desire really to drink. And I think it was after Christmas and New Year, it must have been January 1st or something, when I just told my husband, I don't think I really want to drink anymore. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. And I feel like this entire time that I have been drinking, it wasn't truly like I wanted it, right? It was just like, okay, sure, I'll have a cocktail. Oh, sure, everyone's drinking, I'll do it. But when I consciously thought about it, I don't think the desire was really coming from me. And let me just say, I'm a very introspective person. I really analyze my decisions, my habits, my ways of thinking, my actions. I'm someone who I like to know the deeper cause of something, the deeper root of it. I always peel back the layers to figure out what the root is. And at the root of drinking, all I found was I do this socially. This has never been something that I do by myself. This has never been something that I kind of seek out alone. It's always been something that I do at a restaurant, or when I'm with friends, or when I'm with my husband, or on a plane, like I said, and when it's around me. And so I really challenged myself to just cut it out. And I can tell you that now it's been, 7 months, and I have had a few drinks. I'm not going to say I haven't drank at all, but it's been very intentional. Like, I drank on my husband and my anniversary. I drank when I went to Peru with my mom and sister. I drank, what was the other time I drank? My husband's birthday, something like that, right? I just have one drink. But even then, something is just like, not really feeling it anymore. So, very interesting that I've kind of gotten here. It's just crazy how much we change and how much our desires and interests and all that change. 5 years ago, my husband and I went on a double date with this couple, and they were very healthy. Like, they were on their fitness journey. They didn't drink. They didn't do anything. And my husband and I had joked after the double date, like, oh, they're so boring. Like, I don't think we could hang out with them again. They don't really drink. They don't do anything. All they like doing is hiking and going to the gym. And it's so funny because now I'm like, is that who I've become? Like, have I become the person who's quite boring on paper to other people, and a lot of the mainstream things that people enjoy, I just simply don't. And so anyways, these are just kind of some thoughts and some backstory to drinking and to why I kind of came to this decision. The other thing that really deterred me from drinking is this idea of blacking out. Now, thankfully, I have never blacked out in my entire life. So, as you can see, I've never really drank purposely to reach a certain state or anything. It's generally been like 1 or 2 cocktails, and of course I have had my nights where I've had more than that. This was mainly in like my college days and when I was younger. But this idea of blacking out is quite scary, and the amount of people who have experienced blacking out is quite delusional. And the fact that these people black out but then choose to continue drinking, and they have no idea the type of person they become, the type of things that they do, and just something else has taken over their entire body, is quite bonkers that this drug can give such a profound, such a strong effect, and yet you can get it at any store, any gas station, any restaurant. Like, why are we pushing this down people's throats? And also the fact that they call alcohol spirits is quite interesting. I guess I'll just say that. But the other thing that had me thinking, why is this so mainstream, was this idea of cheers, right? Like when you cheers a glass. Why is it that we are celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, achievements with poison? I know some people might think that I'm taking it so far, but really peel back the layers. We are cheersing and then swallowing poison, something that is destructive to our health, to our liver, something that is literally poison, something that our body rejects and wants to get rid of. So why are we going around celebrating amazing things, positive things, milestones with such a negative substance? It makes you wonder, right? Like, why aren't we cheersing with healthy drinks? Why aren't we cheersing with things of sustenance, things that help promote longevity, right? So these are just some really scattered thoughts, but now I want to get into the actual points that I have for today's video in what I've noticed when I'm not drinking, and how I've noticed it impacts me, and just basically the the benefits of not drinking beyond the obvious ones, right? So first off, I have radical acceptance. And this is something that I've noticed, that a lot of people who are not really sure of themselves, who haven't really built an identity that they're comfortable in, who haven't truly owned themselves, their desires, their persona, will use alcohol as a way to mask themselves. So you will hear about a lot of people who drink prior to going on a first date, or who drink prior to a social event. And it makes you wonder, are these people uncomfortable being themselves? It's a little bit sad, because I think when you truly accept who you are and you have this radical acceptance about yourself, even the weaknesses, even the darkness, even the flaws, then you can show up in the world truly being genuine, truly being authentic, and you're not looking to alcohol as an escape, as a way to mask yourself, as a way to pretend that you're funnier or more wild or different than who you truly are. So not drinking has really helped me radically accept myself. I don't go out thinking, oh my God, I need a drink because I'm gonna have anxiety, or I need a drink to be fun or to be interesting. And actually, just last month, my mom, my sister, and I all went to a nightclub, and it was my first time going to a nightclub without having a sip of alcohol. I was literally drinking water, and I actually enjoyed it. And I was like, oh my God, this is fun. Like, I'm actually here just to dance, just to connect, just to enjoy the music, just to enjoy the company. I'm not here to feel bubbly or to feel a certain way or to, mask my persona. And it was a really just eye-opening experience, knowing that I really don't need this substance to have fun, even in a place, even in a nightclub in which everyone basically is partaking in this substance. The next thing that I noticed is, unfortunately, alcoholism is a trauma. It is a generational trauma, and it is a trauma that impacts so many families. Just looking at my own family, I know that alcoholism is present, I would say probably on both sides, both my maternal and paternal side. And just so many of my friends, when I look at their families, at least one person in their life has struggled with alcoholism, whether it's a father, whether it's a mother, whether it's a sibling or an uncle or a grandparent. And I will just say that if you truly want to make a difference for generations, if you truly want to be the one who breaks a cycle, who breaks a pattern, who kind of undoes any trauma that's present in your DNA, then you will look at your family and you'll notice what trends, what patterns exist, and how you can overcome those. So personally, in my own family tree, alcoholism is big. Like, my family drinks. We drink, I would say, like, it's a big part of our family dynamic. Drinks are present at every barbecue, at every birthday, at every Christmas, at every event. And I'm not saying that we're different or unique. I would say that that's quite normal in the American lifestyle. But it really made me think, if I truly want to make a difference within my family and for future generations to come, then I should tackle this. I should be the one that overcomes this. I should be the one who stands up and says, you know what? I'm not drinking tonight. I'm not gonna drink. And a lot of people, the first thing they'll do is ask why. Like, why aren't you drinking? And I'm just simply like, you know what? I don't have a desire to. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't really benefit me in any way. And so I'm not partaking. And I know that when I shared this with my dad, I think it just hit him, because when I told him that, he was like, wow, like, he was very proud of me. I'm gonna get emotional. He was like, wow, Baba, I'm so proud of you. And he even said that, you know what, you inspire me to want to quit. You inspire me to want to try to limit my alcohol. So being the one who stands up and takes a stance that's different, even from your family or your friends or your peers, is bold, and it has such far-reaching effects. Maybe even for you, alcohol isn't a big deal. It's not a big problem. Like for me, it was never a big problem. But by you quitting or by you limiting your alcohol, you're inspiring someone else. That is just amazing. That your decision to change can have a bigger impact on someone else. And it's contagious, it's a domino effect. When one person rises up and makes a positive change, it inspires others to do that too. So I found that alcohol, unfortunately, is a huge generational trauma. And I've noticed that a lot of people are finally rising up against it and realizing that, you know what, I don't need to partake in this. Just because so many people do it doesn't mean that I need to be one of them. Another thing that I noticed when I limited my alcohol intake was how much my intuition was heightened, okay? So I've always been a very intuitive person, but the amount of intuition that I have nowadays is honestly on a whole nother level. I was telling my mom that back in the day when I was drinking more and all of this, I would go into my closet and I would sit there for an hour not knowing what to wear. I just didn't have this intuition of, I'm gonna pick that perfume. Everything just took longer, even when it came to deciding what to make for dinner. And I know that this sounds really silly, but I do believe that the effects of alcohol are in your system for days, weeks, months to come. Even if you're not a heavy drinker, it really hinders your intuition, and it makes you not as bold, not as driven to actually decide, right? So I found that back in the day, I would have a hard time deciding easy things, simple things, right? What to make for dinner, what to wear, what kind of makeup. And in those things, it seems like not a big deal, but if alcohol is impacting even your small decisions, then imagine how much it's impacting the big decisions, right? Like who you marry, like the type of friends you have, like the type of healing that you do. So limiting alcohol or quitting alcohol altogether can truly increase your intuition, and it can make you more aligned. Another one that's quite obvious is that when I limited my alcohol intake, my performance was on an entirely new level, okay? So my mental performance, my ability to think deeply, my ability to be actually interested in something and have a longer attention span, I was able to have more creative thoughts, more creative inspiration. My work was better, and also my workouts were just on a completely different level. I was stronger, I was more focused, I was more committed. And so alcohol really does deter your performance. It undermines your performance. Even if you had one drink yesterday, that is impacting your performance today. When I limited my alcohol intake, I also noticed that I was a lot less bloated. I was a lot less inflamed. I lost weight, around my face, my chin area, my arms, my abs, like a lot of weight was just flushed out because I wasn't putting poison inside of my body. And so even if you work out every day and you sleep well, but you're drinking on the weekends, that is going to impact the way your body looks, the way your skin glows, the way your eyes are bright, all of these things are related. So alcohol impacts the way you look, and even if all the other things are to a T, your fitness, your sleep, when you drink, it really just takes away from all those other things you're doing to help improve yourself. Another thing that I noticed when I limited alcohol was a lot fewer feelings of sadness. So if you are someone who will randomly get feelings of sadness, which I mean, that's like basically everyone, but I mean sadness that's unprovoked. You just feel sad randomly. It has nothing to do with something that someone said or something you watched or something you experienced, but when you just randomly feel these feelings of being low, of being a little bit sad, of being a little bit down, of having the blues, that can be associated with the alcohol, even if you're not drinking very much. I know that my feelings of positivity, of optimism, of joy have just been on a whole nother level now that I'm not drinking on a weekly or regular basis, because I get my joy from simply being alive, from simply getting another day. I'm not getting joy from that cocktail I drank. I'm not getting joy by these fake feelings of bubbliness and tipsiness that you get from alcohol. I'm simply getting joy from being alive, from getting to experience this moment. And that is such a deeper level of joy and happiness and satisfaction that you simply just cannot get with a substance. Another thing that happens when you say no to alcohol is your connections to other people become so much deeper. I know that when my husband and I go out and we are not drinking, we are able to connect on such a deeper level. And it's this level of connection where you just look into someone's eyes and you are fully present. You are fully there. Your mind isn't trailing off. You're not feeling these emotions from the alcohol that really alter your perception, but you're truly present, you're truly listening, you're truly connecting on such a deep level, and you remember every single moment. There's no part of the conversation or of the night that's hazy or that you're not remembering because you're not drinking. You're fully aware, you're fully sober, and it really just makes connection so much stronger. I know even with friendships, like, it is so clear to me that those friends that you have to do substances with, you have to drink with every time you see them, it makes you wonder, is this truly an authentic connection? Is this truly someone that I get along with, or do we just have this shared toxic habit? So when you limit alcohol, or when you say no to alcohol for good, you start realizing who in your life is there when you're sober, on a typical day, when you're just going for a walk, when you're grabbing a lunch, versus someone who's only there when they're not in their right mind, when they're on substances, when they're drinking. And I personally am in this stage in my life right now where I really want to connect with sober people. I know that sounds silly, but I just want to connect with other women who don't do substances, who don't need to drink something to feel out of their body, who don't need something to just go out and have a good time. They can simply just be sober and enjoy their time and socialize and connect without needing anything external. So that is the current phase that I'm in. It's so crazy because a few years back, like I said, I used to judge people, I think, who were sober. And it's not like I judged them like, oh, what they're doing is wrong. But I guess I just couldn't relate to them because during that time in my life, I was like, oh, why not? Like, why not? But when you start thinking about it, you start realizing that a lot of it is just conditioning. A lot of it is just living in a society where it's everywhere and it's pushed down your throat. But when you go to other places and you travel to other parts of the world where it's not a big part of their culture, you start to really realize, is this thing that I'm partaking in really coming from me, or am I simply just doing it because everyone else around me and everyone in my life is doing it? Another benefit to not drinking as much is vivid ass dreams. My dreams have been so vivid ever since I limited my alcohol intake, and I'm going to put my video up top where I talk about how I started remembering almost all of my dreams. And one of the key things is being sober. When you're sober, your sleep is just so much more deep. A lot of times when you drink and you think you're getting great sleep, you're actually not. A lot of the times you're tossing and turning, or perhaps you are sleeping, but you're not really getting in those deep REM phases of the sleep. And so I noticed when I stopped drinking as much, my dreams became so vivid. I was able to remember them in detail, and it was like as if I was experiencing them in real time. All my senses were heightened, and I just felt this deeper connection. I don't care whatever it is that you believe in, but when you limit your alcohol intake, you just become plugged in. That's how I would describe it. Like, I am literally plugged into God's field, and I'm hearing all of his messages, I'm feeling all of his nudges, and I truly feel like I have this spiritual connection that I just simply did not. When I pray and I'm fully sober, and I've been sober for weeks, there is just a much stronger feeling that I get during my prayer, during my manifestation, where I truly feel plugged in. I truly feel like I'm channeling whatever God has in store for me. And honestly, I think that's one of the best things that came out of it, was just feeling so much more connected to God, feeling connected to Source, knowing that I'm on the right path, and also just, of course, asking God for the strength, for the grace, for the forgiveness, and for that courage so that you can continue down this path of becoming the best version of yourself. Because I know I couldn't have done it on my own. I know that everything I am and everything I've ever achieved or plan to achieve is because of God. So I truly do think that even just limiting your alcohol intake, like I've said, like, I'm not in a place right now where I'm going to quit cold turkey, but even just limiting it and making it kind of a special occasion thing for now. We'll see. My mind might change. Perhaps I will, within a year, just completely exit out. But even just making that small change, it has been such a positive decision in my life. I really encourage you guys to try it out if you've been considering to limit your alcohol intake, or if it's not really serving you. I'm just telling you to go for it. I personally have really enjoyed having mocktails, even when I go out with my girlfriends and perhaps they're all drinking. Ordering a mocktail is so fun. I love it. It tastes good, and you don't get any of those negative side effects for not just that day, but for the days to come. So you can really just operate at your most optimal performance. Your dreams are going to be more vivid, your connections are going to be deeper, you're going to feel so much more in tune with your intuition and with God or whoever and whatever you believe in. And so that is just my testimony. I really want to know, where are you guys at with your journey? Do you guys drink? Are you guys social drinkers? Maybe perhaps you don't drink at all. I love hearing from you guys. I feel like we've been having so many more conversations in the comment section, and it just makes me really happy. I do personally read every single comment, so just thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sharing your truth with me. I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.